Hello everyone, welcome to Enlightened Study Point. আজি আমি ক্লাছ 10 ছ'চিয়েল ছায়েন্সৰ জিঅ'গ্ৰাফী পাৰ্টৰ চেপ্টাৰ 1 ছাবজেক্ট মেটাৰ এণ্ড ৰিচোৰ্চেছ সেই চেপ্টাৰৰ 16 পৰা 18 লৈকে কুৱেশ্যনছবোৰ লৈ আনিছোঁ। তো 16 নম্বৰ কুৱেশ্যন, ৰাইট ইন ব্ৰিফ এবাউট দ্য মেথড অফ ৰিচোৰ্চ কনজাৰ্ভেশ্যন। It is highly necessary to incorporate the following method for successful implementation of resources conservation program. A. Search for alternative resources. It is necessary to carry out required research and survey for exploring possible sources of alternative resources even when the production of any highly used resources goes on. B. Recycling. In order to reduce the use of raw material with limited reserve usable, disposed garbage can be reused through the process of recycling. C. Innovation. Necessary study and research are to be undertaken to develop innovation in converting the resources collected from the nature into usable form. This also help check misuse of raw materials and increase resources production. D. Waste control. Considerable amount of resources can be conserved if adequate measures are taken to check production of waste material through their recycling and reuse while converting raw materials to useful resources. E. Expansion of knowledge and education. For proper management of production and use of resources, expansion of knowledge and education is highly essential. Awareness among the people need to be increased to check unnecessary wastage of resources. F. Execution of conservation related act. For proper execution of resources conservation program, the provision of Conservation Act need to be strict and transparent, and it should be effectively implemented. G. Proper assessment of resources reserve. For future planning of resources, use a correct assessment of available reserve of any resources is necessary. This in turn help in curtailing unnecessary use of certain resources and emphasizing to explore alternative resources. G. Assessment of future requirement of resources. Looking at the extent of present use of resource and growth rate of population, it is highly essential to determine the future requirement of the resources. Number 17. Write in brief about the organization associated with resources conservation and their role. Large number of governmental and non-governmental agencies and organizations have been formed at international, national, regional and local levels. In this respect, an international environment conservation organization under United Nations organization named International Union for Conservation of Nature (IUCN) is worthy mentioning. In fact, IUCN was formed in the year 1948 with the initiative of British biologist Julian Huxley, the founder Director General of UNESCO. The main objective of this organization is to carry out study and research on conservation of global natural environment and natural resources including biodiversity and to take appropriate measures. It is with the initiative of the IUCN, two more international organizations like WWF for Nature and World Conservation Monitoring Center have been established. Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change has been formed at governmental level in India. Such governmental organizations are also responsible for formulation of laws related to environment protection and conservation of natural resources. Under this ministry, an autonomous institute name Indian Council of Forestry Research and Education was formed in 1986. Beside a number of non-governmental organizations like Central for Science and Environment, Greenpeace India, Wildlife Trust of India, etc. are working for protection of the environment. In Assam also a number of non-governmental organizations like Assam Science Society, Aranyak, etc. are working for environmental protection, biodiversity conservation, etc. Question number 18. Write short notes. Resource. All the materials essential for human living are known as resource. The air, water, sun ray, soil, plants, food, minerals, etc. found on the earth are all essential to man. Hence, these are all resources. These resources are collected by man mainly from the nature through various means. The resources so obtained from the nature are used by man, employing its own energy, knowledge, and intelligence and skill. Next, human resource. As a producer or a creator of resource, man is also a kind of resource. It is known as human resource. It is necessary to have adequate skill, education, technology, and desire among men so as to make the nature resources useful to men. It is because of these attributes population is known as human resources. Next, all wealth. In many respects, both resource and wealth are considered same, but according to the principle of economics, the material which have value in exchange are called wealth. Notable besides usefulness, the supply of wealth is relatively limited and it can be transferred from one individual to another through money or value. For example, land, house, machinery, company share, etc. are wealth. All these have market price. But the sunshine, air, water, soil, river, lake, education, social institution, good governmental, public health, etc. are not included in the category of wealth. Renewable resources. Among the available natural resources on the earth, some do not get exhausted after use and some other get gradually exhausted. The resources which can be kept unexhausted after use through the process of regeneration are called renewable or inexhaustible resources. It means sunshine, air, water, plants, animal, human being, crops, etc. are renewable resources. These resources originated very easily on the earth. Next is a personal resources. The thing in possession of individual men such as land, household, property and good self attributes, example good character, education, working skill, etc. are known as individual or personal resources. They are private property or attributes of man and differ from one person to another with respect to his or her capability. Next is a natural resources. All the resources under the responsibility or possession of a country, such as transport network, land, river, bridge, wildlife sanctuaries, plant and animal present in forest, educational institution, administrative system, government, etc. are called natural resources. For instance, Kaziranga National Park is a national resources. Next, biotic resource. According to physical structure or composition, the resources which have life are called biotic. The plants, animal, fish, crops, etc. are biotic resources. Atmosphere, forests, etc. are together known as international resources. Resources conservation. Use of resources and its conservation are very closely associated. Generally, the concept or act of possible complete utilization of any resources without any destruction and misuse is known as conservation of resources. It means the main objective of resources conservation is that we have to collect and use the necessary resources for the nature in such a way so that we all continue to get benefit from this. Resource recycling in order to reduce the use of raw material with limited reserve usable disposed garbage can be reused through the process of recycling. For instance, by the method of recycling of the old polythene bag, plastic bottle, paper, iron, scraps, etc., the use of raw materials for such products can be reduced to some extent. Thus, the recycling of some usable waste material helps conservation of resources. IUCN. In this respect, an international environment conservation organization under United Nations organization named International Union for Conservation of Nature (IUCN) is worthy mentioning. In fact, IUCN was formed in the year 1948 with the initiative of British biologist Julian Huxley, the founder director general of UNESCO. The main objective of this organization is to carry out study and research on conservation of global natural environment and natural resources including biodiversity and to take appropriate measures. বাকি কুৱেশ্যনছবোৰ আমি নেক্সট ভিডিঅ'লৈ লৈ আনিম। ধন্যবাদ।